Hello and welcome to today's math lesson. We are going to be doing compound inequalities. We're just going to take a minute or two here to review from yesterday. Yesterday we were solving with variables on both sides and special situations. So in this one right here, we are going to distribute. So we have 5y minus 13. We'll leave the symbol the same. We're going to distribute 5 times y is 5y. And 5 times 3 is 15. So I'm going to get my letters together first, and I'm going to subtract 5y from both sides. So this cancels out, and we have negative 13 is less than, and this cancels out, and we only have 15. Is negative 13 less than 15? Yes, that is a true statement. And because that's a true statement, we are going to say the answer is all reals. So when we look over here, we see identity, 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 and we're looking for the all reals. So we're going to pick this one right here. All right, the second sample problem that I have to go over is solving this inequality here. And in this inequality, when I draw my line down, I'm going to distribute over here again. So 3y minus 4, and I'm going to distribute 3y plus 12. Subtract 3y from both sides. This cancels out, this cancels out. So we have is negative 4 greater than or equal to 12? Is negative 4 bigger than 12? No, this is false. That is a contradiction. Identity, 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 contradiction. We would say no solutions. So that's what we're going to pick here is no solutions. So it's a review from yesterday. What we're going into today is compound inequalities. So learning target is I will be able to solve and graph compound inequalities involving OR, which is what we're doing today. We're going to break it down and we're going to do OR today. And then on Monday, we're going to do the ANDs. Okay, so we're doing the ORs today. All right, so what are some compounds? You guys have heard compounds, and you probably hear of compounds more from science. So some different compounds and things. In the past, some of the different things that we've had kids come up with is something like sodium chloride, carbon dioxide, and the last one down there that you can barely see is water. Water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. So it's compounds, 2 or more things that are coming together here to make a compound. So we're going to be doing compound inequalities. So we're going to have inequalities, same symbol we've been doing, and they're called intersections and unions. So intersections and unions, ands and ors. So every inequality we've seen so far has been a simple inequality. So we've had one inequality symbol in there. Now we're going into compound when you're going to have 2 simple inequalities together. So we're going to have 2 of them graphed together. All right, if we look at this graph that flashed right before our eyes, do you see in here how we have 1, x is less than 2, and the word or between it, and then we also have x is greater than 6. And you see how on the graph we have 2 different ones. So this first one right here, open circle, so you can see that they have the open circle on 2, and less than 2. Okay, or in this other circumstance, we have 6 and it's greater than 6. Now, the only difference between the first and second example is, do you see this line underneath? And because we have the line, that's why it's colored in here. Okay, so you have to pay attention. They could also give you something like x is less than 2 or x is greater than or equal to 6. So we could have an open circle going this way and a closed circle going this way. All right, the union, some different vocab and words with unions. There are a set of elements that are in either set. So in that last one that we just did, it could have been less than 2 or it could have been bigger than. So it could fit in either one. Sometimes you guys are given choices in life. Well, you either have to clean your room or clean the bathroom, then you can go somewhere, and then tomorrow morning you can do the other one. So you are giving a choice. It can fit in either place. All right, so what happens and what mathematicians always wants to do you see how we have two of them and then they're written together here as one? So if we graph the first one, graph x is less than 2. So always put your 0 on here, and we have our number 2. At 2, no line underneath, so we're going to have an open circle, and it says x is less than, so less than goes left. Now if we look at the next one, and here, and let's graph y is greater than 10, so we're going to start at 10. So again, I have 0 and 2, so 10 is going to be down further here. It's going to be an open circle, and now it says any number greater than 10, and greater goes this way. Now what they're doing in the last one is they're just putting both of them on the same line. And I think most of you are all going to agree with me. You would rather not graph this 3 different times. I'd rather put this all on one number line. Do you see how it's an or? You can either clean your bedroom or you can clean the bathroom. So clean one or the other. So pick one or. Do one or the other. So you could pick a number smaller than 2, so you could have a -5. That would work. Or you could pick another number like 80, and that would work. Either one of those answers would work. Okay, we are not going to be drawing them each on separate lines. We're going to put them all on the same number line. So when we look at this problem, do you see how it says 2? Basically, you're getting 2 problems in one. And you see how there's 3 number lines down here at the bottom? We are just going to use this one number line, and we're going to graph it all on this one number line, and we are not going to use these other 2. So we're just going to put it on one number line for you guys, okay? But first, before we graph it, we have to solve it. I'm just going to do it in 2 different colors just to keep it so you guys can see why I'm doing 2 of them here. So this looks just like what we did about a week and a half ago. 4 times x, so the opposite of times is divide. So we're going to divide both sides by 4. So I have x, that's a +4 I divided by, so I'm going to leave my sign the same. And 20 divided by 4 is 5. Now, if you want, you can go and graph this one right now, or you can wait until the end. It doesn't really matter. But I'm going to put my 5 here, and I have a less than or equal to. Because I have that equal to sign, I'm going to shade this in, and it says any number less than 5, and less than goes this way. Okay, now I'm going to go do the other problem over here. And so here it says 3 times x, so the opposite of times is divide. So I have x, I divided by a positive number, so no flipping, and 21 divided by 3 is 7. So 7 on the number line would be bigger than 5. That is an open circle. There's no line underneath it, so it has an open circle, and it says any number bigger than 7, so it shades out. Do you see how all of these OR problems that we have done are shading away from each other? They're going out. So you can pick a number over here, -10, and it would work. Or you could pick a number up here, 28, and it would work. Either or. All right, so can we now write, well, let's do one more sample problem here. It's jumping around, not going where I'm telling it to. Okay, here we go. So here we go. We have an OR problem here. And so do you see how there's 2 of them? So we are going to graph these on the same line so that we don't have to do a bunch of extra work. So we're going to only use one number line here at the end when we're graphing it. All right, so put my line down here. I want to get t all by itself. So what number do I have to move? I have to move that 8. And because that is a positive 8, I am going to subtract 8 from both sides. Because I added and subtracted, there's no flipping of your sign. So t is greater than or equal to, and 7 minus 8 is a -1. So now my number line here is 0. And if I have a -1 on here, there's a line underneath this. So this is going to be a closed circle. And now it says any number greater than -1. Greater than -1 goes that way. All right, and then in the second problem, if I pick here, I draw my line down, and again, I have an 8 by the t, so I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. T, now do not flip your sign because all we did was subtract. We only flip when you multiply and divide. And 2 minus 8 is going to be a -6. Use your calculator so you get that integer correct. Any number less than -6. So on my number line, -6 is over here. I just have less than, there's no line underneath it. So I'm going to have an open circle. And it says any number less than. Where do my numbers get less than? They get less than to the left. So again, do you see how we have an or, and these two graphs are going out or away from each other? All right, the last thing we need to do is, can you read this number line and can you actually write the inequality? Now, if you guys notice, every single time we do these problems, we always, whether it's Mr. Hansen making something, Mrs. Crenshaw, or if it's Mr. Molo or myself, we always have you write the letter first. So I'm going to write this inequality first, and I'm going to start by writing my letter. Any number. Now look at this. It's a closed in circle, and because it's closed in, I know I'm going to have that line underneath it. Now, what does it mean? These numbers from this 8 are getting less than. So I need less than, and they're from what number? -8. And because it's graphed out, I'm going to put that or word in the middle, and I'm going to write another inequality. So now this time I'm going to write it from here, and I always start with my letter. Then we'll have an open circle, so I'm not going to have that line underneath it. And it looks like any number bigger than. So bigger than is this way, and bigger than what number? 2. Okay, write your letter first. That is the biggest advice I can give you. Write letter first. And it's really hard for kids to do that because when you look at this, the first thing you see is the number -8. So you want to write the -8 first. Okay, but you have to be careful. Okay, from the -8, kids get the symbols in backwards, so please, please, please write the letter first. All right, second sample problem. Again, do you see how it's shading out? So I know it's going to be an or problem, and I'm going to look at this one first. I'm going to remember that Miss Talk said write the letter first. Letter. Okay, this is closed in, so I know I'm going to have that line underneath it. And then it's going smaller, 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 so less than -3. Now I go to the other side, and I'm going to write this one. Miss Talk said write the letter first. This one is closed, so I am going to say, I have to make sure I have that line underneath. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's getting bigger, bigger, bigger. So I have to make sure I have my greater than sign in there, and then I have my 5. Okay, so basically you are going to be solving 2 different problems on one, and you're going to have that or in the middle, and all of your graphs should be going out. The biggest thing is please write your letter first when we are writing these compound inequalities. All right, good luck on your assignment. Have a great day.